All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Burbank, and I am the founder and creator of Comeback to Success podcast. In this podcast, we do a lot of conversations in depth around mental health to help people who are going through mental health challenges and struggles and trying to give people more insight and direction from other professionals and industry professionals as well to gain more perspective on how we can better live our lives. A lot of people are challenged with mental health, and so because of that, I felt very called to wanting to help other people and interviewing a lot of industry experts who could give a lot of insight and direction for other people who are struggling with their mental health. So with that being said, there's a wonderful person by the name of Jessper Maquindang right here. I got the pleasure of being able to interview Jessper today in today's podcast episode. So I'm going to give you a quick intro on Jessper, and so that you can learn more about him and his expertise and how he is definitely cracking the game and making a positive impact for other people. So here we go. Jessper Maquindang is a leadership development speaker and trainer with a passion for personal growth and professional development. With over a decade of experience leading diverse teams, Jessper has a deep understanding of the importance of fostering workplace cultures that prioritize collaboration, innovation, and mental well being. With an executive master's degree in leadership from the University of Southern California, Jessper works with leaders to improve employee productivity and engagement by creating supportive environment that encourages everyone to thrive. Jesper has been a featured guest on top podcast shows, including Hacks and Hobbies with Junaid Ahmed, Unstoppable Mindset with Michael Hingson, um, and the famous interviews with Joe Domino, and in his personal life, Jesper enjoys running, reading business books, and traveling around the country. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jesper Maquindang.
Brandon, super excited to join you today. Looking
Awesome.
forward to our conversation.
Yes, it's going to be an awesome conversation, totally chill and just really focused on how we can help other people who have challenges with mental health and giving them positive direction. Well,
Absolutely.
let's get into it with question number one. What would be the biggest piece of advice that you could give to someone who is struggling with their mental health?
Absolutely. Such an excellent question. And when it comes to this, I would say the biggest piece of advice is to seek connection. And I was looking at research recently, and I saw that according to the National Institute of Mental Health, in 2022, there were about 59 million people who had reported a mental health challenge.
Wow.
And that's a lot of people. And when it comes to seeking connection, I emphasize that because I want people out there to know that you're not alone
Yes.
on the one hand. And then on the other hand, when it comes to mental health challenges, I know many people like to tune out and isolate and hide themselves, but that's not very productive. When someone really takes the time to reach out to other people and form connections, reach out to your friends, reach out to family members. Again, you're not alone. And when you're surrounded by other people, you'll have that support group to keep moving you forward. So I would say continue to seek connection. Whoever you see in your life that can provide any support, reach out and let them be there for you.
That's well said, Jesper. I think the other thing that I'll tag along with what you're saying is having a source of purpose in life. If we have purpose in our lives, we're much more prone to working on our challenges and working on our lives and being productive in society. And the problem with a lot of people is that when they get diagnosed, they go into a depression and then they feel like they're not capable of doing a lot of productive things. But that's not the case. It's like just because you have a condition doesn't mean that you can't be successful. And I'm the living, breathing version of that. I was diagnosed at 19 with bipolar disorder. So that's where I've like had to maintain balance. But it's like it causes me to grow. And I found my passion out of my challenges in a way, which has been really supportive. So let's move on to the next question. Number two, why is it important that the youth population learn more about mental health?
I would say for the youth to learn about mental health, one, helps them become more proactive, because when people take steps to learn about them, to learn about various challenges, it gives them that time and opportunity to really understand these conditions. That
Yeah.
way, when they notice any symptoms, they're ready to take steps
Yeah.
to make themselves feel better, and find ways to cope and find productive and healthier habits to build. The second thing I would say is that when the youth population learns more about mental health challenges, it promotes a more compassionate society, since they are learning about these things. Now that they're aware, they will take the time, put in the effort to really understand other people, because they've learned those symptoms and challenges and everything related to that field when they were young. So as they get older, they've already gained that understanding. And
Yeah.
third, it reduces the risk of really falling into these deeper holes of a mental health condition, because when you understand what you're going through, you can proactively take steps to get yourselves out of it. You're prepared to find resources. You're prepared to talk to the people who can help you. You're prepared to find other educational avenues that can really help you learn more about what you're going through. And when you have that awareness, it'll be easier for you to get out of these situations and find a better place to be in for yourself.
Yeah, that's really well said. A lot of you just shared a ton of different good angles on why the youth should learn more about mental health. And the one thing that I'll also add to what you're saying is the fact that because maybe you might not be going through challenges, but you might know somebody in your adolescence who is going through suffering in silence in a way, or going through troubles with their mental health. And so that's kind of where we have to be. If we are educated around mental health as a youth, you can then help other people who are also going through challenges in their own lives. So,
That's an
uh,
excellent point, Brandon.
yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next question then. Number 3, what are some ways that someone who is struggling with mental health can bounce back? What are some of the catalysts to bounce back?
So the way they can bounce back, I'd say, for one, reach out for support, and if needed, reach out for professional guidance, because again, many people out there who are dealing with any mental health challenge, you're not alone. And
Yes,
there are people out there who can support you. Even if it's not friends or family, there are professionals,
there's
even
professional.
counselors, who can, correct, who can guide you through
And I had,
what you're going through.
yeah, no,
And
okay.
absolutely. And then the second part I would say is practice gratitude and uh, practice a sense of gratitude, because whenever we're going through these things, there are still good things out there in the world that we can appreciate. So, I mean, a sunny
Exactly.
day, uh,
It's called
you
being
know,
positive. It's called being positive with yourself and treating yourself with kindness, which a lot of people struggle with, though, I would say.
that's right. It's practicing that mindfulness, because there are still good things out there that we can focus on
Exactly.
that'll make us feel so much better.
Yes.
And then, third, I would say find creative outlets, whether that's music, art, poetry, ways to express yourselves. Those are going to be unique ways to find, to put yourself in a different mode where you can express yourself creatively uh,
Yeah.
based on what you're going through. But again, it'll make you feel better when you find these avenues, again, such as art, music, you name it. You can get creative. And then ways to bounce back.
Yeah.
Brandon, as you mentioned earlier, that sense of purpose, when you really lean into what your life stands for. And Brandon, I really loved what you said at the beginning. You found your mission, and it's really inspiring you to step forward. And I
Thank
have that same message for everyone out there as well. When you're dealing with any challenges, remember what you stand for and use that as your guiding force to really push you forward.
Well said, Jesper. That thank you for saying that. Yeah, I feel like it's my calling is to help other people who have mental health challenges, and that's the reason why I was put on this earth for. And so, as I'm continuing navigating my life and being productive, I'm in school right now. I want to continue to work on finding positive angles to inspire other people and continuing to speak publicly to different audiences. And that's what has helped me maintain wellness and focus on something that's valuable for other people. So you're really hitting the nail on the head with a lot of what you're saying, Jesper. I like what you're saying. Let's move on to the next question then. Number 4, how can friends and family best support someone with a mental health condition?
First thing I would say is to be an active listener, because when someone is going through mental health challenges, it's not really easy to express themselves. But take the time to sit back, don't judge, because what they're going through is real, and you want to give them that space to really understand what they're going through and express themselves in the way they can. That way, when you open up that space, you'll get a better understanding of what's on their mind, what are they going through, what are they thinking. It's all about giving that space. And the second thing is to meet them where they're at. I know in a lot of places, there are people who report that since they're going through these challenges, they find other people becoming impatient, but that's not the right approach. You need to be patient, because when you're putting too much pressure for someone who's already feeling pressure, that's just going to overwhelm them. And
Yes.
there's that's just going to make things more difficult. So when you give the opportunity to meet people where they're at, you're really giving them that space to think and process what they're going through. And when you give them that time, they'll be more receptive and return that favor to you and listen to you as well. But it's all about opening that space for them.
I love it. Another perspective to think about with what you just said is the word comes to mind is empathy. When you have empathy for another person, it's because you're opening a channel of energy to converse with somebody who might not be feeling well mentally. And that's where it all boils down to. If you have empathy, then you can better connect with people and make a difference and talk about what is necessary, what's causing this person trouble or unfortunate waves of thinking. So, yeah,
Absolutely. And I'd like to share 2 more things, but go ahead, Brandon. I think you were going to add something.
You go ahead, Jesper.
I would say another thing is to lead by example, because when someone is going through some challenges, if you're telling someone to relax and you yourself are not that type of relaxed person, the person dealing with those challenges, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to follow along, because you're not serving as a role model. So to serve as a role model, really, when you talk about work-life balance, live that work-life balance. That way, when people in challenges look up to you, they can see that you're really standing up for the word that you're standing up for. And then I would say the last thing is to celebrate their wins, because person who's going through challenges, there's just a lot on their plate. And if they can get 1 thing, 2 things, or 3 things off their plate, celebrate that, because it is a lot on their mind. But when they get something, that's still progress. Progress is still progress. So celebrate those wins.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesper. That was a really good point that you just made about celebrating wins and whatnot. So yeah, appreciate that. Okay. Number 5, what changes would you like to see in how society approaches mental health? So like, what's the viewpoint about society's viewpoint and how can we change the narrative?
Absolutely. So a greater understanding of mental health challenges, because I know Mental Health Awareness Month is May, I believe. And for so many of these recognitions, I think we should really put in the time and effort to think and consider about it throughout the year. So we need to be more open about it, because when you're limiting a certain topic or theme to a certain month, that really dilutes the value. But when you really encourage people to be more open about it throughout the year, that really opens up the conversation and really opens up the space. And again, when we open up the conversation, that should reduce the stigma, because when you're not giving people the opportunity to talk about it, you're just continuing to limit the opportunities that are out there. So when you open up that space, you're really giving people that opportunity to really express themselves. And the second thing I would encourage is for workplace to adopt better policies and practices and benefits related to mental health, such as access to counselors, better work-life balance, and really encouraging your employees to take time off, because if you're putting too much pressure to work long hours, that's just going to burn them out and increase the challenges that people deal with. So I would recommend those things as we look at society and how we can improve the conversation on mental health awareness.
Awesome, Jesper. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think that you hit the nail on the head again with a bunch of those points. And overall, I think the other word that comes to mind right now is stigma. If we can better erase the stigma around mental health and keeping the narrative around mental health to more open-mindedness. I know it's hard to do that because there's a lot of people who, when they are not well, they cause a lot of problems for a lot of people and headaches and challenges and cause trauma for other people. But if we can better care for these folks and help people so that they can ultimately help themselves, that's going to be more of a positive way to attack the problem about stigma. Because when you see people who have a mental illness and they're actually working on themselves and being productive with their life, that will much more give people more, oh wow, look at this guy, he's going through challenges but he's doing well in his life. That's called growth. And that's what our country and our world needs to be more open-minded about, for giving people second chances in a way.
That's right. And speaking of stigma, there are certain phrases that we should remove from our vocabulary, especially when it comes to mental health awareness. I would say the first phrase we should avoid using is mental disorder. And the second one that we should remove is mental illness, because when people are going through challenges, that's what they are. It's not a bad thing. It's not an evil. People are going through just a sense of overwhelm. We should not call them a disorder or illness. What these feelings that are processing through these people, they're real. We just need to give space, time, and effort for people to grow out of it and find a better place. So remove disorder, remove illness. These are challenges that people can grow out of, not limitations.
That's well said. So the last question is for you, Jesper. What do you do for fun that keeps you happy?
Oh, there are a lot of things I do for fun. For me, I absolutely enjoy running. I'm a marathon runner. I've done LA Marathon, Honolulu Marathon, San Diego. Little Rock, Arkansas. Hoping to do more. So I'm looking forward to just more races. But I absolutely love putting my running shoes on, getting out there, and just really putting those miles in. That's what keeps me excited.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jesper. So that wraps up our interview with Jessper Maquindang. Jesper, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast today. And thank you so much to all the viewers who are out there who are listening and learning about mental health from two wonderful people. And thank you again for watching this video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below in my social media links. And we guys will hope you enjoy the rest of your day and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. This was awesome.